In the tranquil embrace of a small village surrounded by rolling hills, there lived a Zen master named Shun. His presence exuded a profound sense of wisdom and calm, qualities that had drawn seekers from far and wide. Shun's teachings, delivered with clarity and compassion, resonated deeply with those who came to him in search of answers to life's most challenging questions. This serene backdrop would soon witness the arrival of a young traveler whose quest for understanding would lead to a transformative journey. Hiro, a restless soul in his late 20s, had spent much of his life wandering from place to place, seeking purpose and meaning. Stories of Shun's wisdom had reached him during his travels, painting the master as a man who could see through the facades people often presented to the world. This intrigued Hiro, for he had always been perplexed by the duplicity he observed in others. His own encounters with insincere individuals had left him disillusioned, and he yearned for guidance to navigate the complexities of human nature. Upon reaching the village, Hiro found himself standing before Shun's humble abode. The simplicity of the place was striking, a reflection of the master's teachings. The room was adorned with delicate calligraphy scrolls, each bearing a profound piece of wisdom, and a single bonsai tree stood gracefully in the corner. It was a stark contrast to the opulence Hiro had seen in his travels, a reminder that true value often lay in simplicity. When Hiro finally met Shun, he was greeted with a warm smile that seemed to penetrate the walls Hiro had built around his heart. The master invited him to sit, offering him a cup of tea. Hiro sipped the fragrant brew, its warmth grounding him in the present moment. Yet, his curiosity could not be contained for long. "Master Shun," Hiro began, "I have heard stories of your ability to see through people and uncover their true nature. I wish to learn this art. How can one identify fake people in this world?" Shun's eyes sparkled with a mix of amusement and understanding. "Ah," he replied, "the quest to identify fake people is a noble one, but it begins not with others, but with yourself." Hiro was taken aback. He had expected a straightforward answer, perhaps a set of guidelines to follow. Yet, Shun's response hinted at something deeper. "Understand myself?" Hiro echoed, seeking clarification. Shun nodded. "To truly understand others, you must first look within. Many people wear masks, not because they wish to deceive, but because they fear being vulnerable. To see through these masks, you must cultivate clarity within your own mind and heart." The conversation continued, with Shun elaborating on the nature of human behavior. He explained that in times of ease, people could maintain a facade, but it was during adversity that their true character emerged. Fake individuals, he noted, often crumbled under pressure, revealing their insecurities and motivations. As Hiro listened, he began to reflect on his own life. Memories surfaced of moments when people he had trusted had shown their true colors during challenging times. He recalled a former friend who had abandoned him during a financial crisis, despite years of camaraderie. He also remembered instances where seemingly kind strangers had offered help without expecting anything in return, their generosity shining through in his moments of need. Shun's teachings resonated deeply with these experiences. "But how," Hiro asked, "can I discern someone's true nature before adversity strikes? Surely there must be signs." Shun smiled, as if he had anticipated the question. "Pay attention," he said simply. "Observe not just what people say, but how they say it. Watch their actions, their reactions, and their consistency over time. Most importantly, trust your intuition. It is a powerful guide, honed through mindfulness and self-awareness." Intrigued by this guidance, Hiro decided to stay in the village for a while, immersing himself in Shun's teachings. He began practicing meditation, a practice that initially felt challenging but gradually became a source of clarity and peace. Through meditation, Hiro started to quiet the noise in his mind, making room for deeper insights. One day, while walking through the village, Hiro encountered Koji, a man renowned for his flamboyant lifestyle. Koji's wealth and charisma had made him a popular figure, but there was something about him that felt off to Hiro. Remembering Shun's advice, Hiro decided to engage Koji in conversation. As they spoke, Hiro noticed subtle inconsistencies in Koji's stories. His laughter felt forced, his words lacked depth, and there was a fleeting emptiness in his eyes. Hiro's intuition whispered that Koji's outward display of confidence and affluence was masking inner insecurities. Rather than judging Koji, Hiro chose a different approach. Drawing from Shun's teachings, he shared his own struggles and vulnerabilities, creating a space for Koji to open up. Over time, Koji began to let down his guard, revealing a kind and compassionate side that had been buried beneath layers of pretense. This experience was a turning point for Hiro. He realized that identifying fake people was not about labeling or condemning them, but about understanding the reasons behind their behavior. It was about seeing beyond the masks and recognizing the shared humanity that connected them all. Shun's teachings had not only deepened Hiro's understanding of others, but had also initiated a journey of self-discovery. Hiro began to see that the ability to discern true character was a skill that required patience, empathy, and a willingness to look beyond surface appearances. As this chapter of Hiro's journey drew to a close, he found himself filled with gratitude for the wisdom Shun had imparted. He resolved to carry these lessons with him, not just as tools to navigate the world, but as a way to foster deeper connections with those he encountered. This realization marked the beginning of a lifelong journey for Hiro, one that would continue to unfold with each step he took. And so, his story transitions seamlessly into the next chapter, where the lessons deepen, the challenges grow, and the path toward understanding becomes even more profound. The soft glow of morning light filtered through the simple shoji screens of Shun's modest home. Hiro had woken early, his mind swirling with thoughts from the previous evening's reflections. Every word the Zen master spoke felt like a puzzle piece falling into place, helping Hiro see the bigger picture of not just others' behaviors, but his own patterns as well. As the days passed, Hiro's understanding of Shun's teachings deepened. He had begun to see that the process of identifying fake people was not merely an external exercise, but a mirror to his own journey of self-awareness. Each observation of others brought him face to face with parts of himself he had long ignored. One morning, as Hiro sat with Shun over tea, he decided to voice the question that had been lingering in his heart. "Master," he began hesitantly, "you said that to understand others, I must first understand myself. But how do I know if I'm being true to myself? What if I'm wearing a mask without even realizing it?" Shun set his teacup down gently, the faint clink of porcelain breaking the silence. "Ah, Hiro," he said with a soft smile, "that is the most important question you have asked so far. Many people spend their lives constructing masks to please others, unaware that they have lost touch with their true selves. The first step to understanding this is to listen, truly listen, to the voice within." Hiro furrowed his brow. "But how do I distinguish my true voice from the noise of doubt, fear, or ego?" Shun leaned back, as if to give the question the space it deserved. "Meditation is one way," he said after a pause, "but self-awareness also grows in the crucible of honest relationships. Those who dare to show you a mirror, friends, mentors, even adversaries, can help you see the masks you wear. The question is, are you willing to look?" This thought stayed with Hiro as he ventured back into the village that day. He couldn't help but wonder, had he been blind to his own masks all along? His journey had initially been motivated by a desire to discern others' true natures, but now, he realized, this quest was as much about unmasking himself. Over the following weeks, Hiro continued to practice deep observation, not just of others, but of himself. He began to notice how he often adjusted his demeanor depending on who he was speaking to. With the villagers, he was polite and reserved. With Shun, he tried to appear eager and inquisitive, hoping to impress the master. But why? Was it to gain favor, to avoid conflict, or perhaps to fulfill some unspoken expectation of how he thought he should behave? Hiro realized that these adjustments were not inherently wrong. In fact, they were a natural part of human interaction. But he also recognized that, at times, they stemmed from fear. Fear of rejection, of being judged, or of not being enough. One day, as he walked through the village, Hiro encountered a young woman named Aya. She was known for her radiant smile and kind words, always quick to offer help to those in need. Yet, As Hiro observed her over time, he began to sense an underlying sadness that her cheerful exterior couldn't quite hide. Curious and concerned, Hiro decided to approach Aya. "You always seem so happy," he remarked one day, "but sometimes I feel like there's something you're not sharing. Is everything truly okay?" Aya's smile faltered, and for a moment, Hiro saw the vulnerability she had been keeping hidden. She hesitated before replying, "It's just easier to pretend everything is fine. People expect me to be cheerful, and I don't want to burden them with my problems." Hiro nodded, understanding all too well the weight of such expectations. He shared his own struggles with trying to meet others' perceptions, recounting moments when he, too, had worn a mask to avoid discomfort or vulnerability. To Hiro's surprise, Aya began to open up, sharing her fears and insecurities. She spoke of her struggles with loneliness and her fear of being seen as weak. As she spoke, Hiro realized that her mask of cheerfulness was not an act of deceit but a shield, much like the masks he himself had worn. This interaction left a profound impact on Hiro. It reinforced what Shun had taught him, that understanding others required empathy and a willingness to look beyond surface appearances. Aya's mask, like Koji's flamboyance, was a reflection of her inner struggles, not a sign of malice or insincerity. One evening, Shun invited Hiro to join him on a walk through the village. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth. As they strolled, they came across a group of villagers gathered around a cart laden with goods. A merchant, who had recently arrived in the village, was loudly proclaiming the quality of his wares, his voice brimming with confidence. "Look closely, Hiro," Shun whispered, "and tell me what you see." Hiro observed the merchant, noting the enthusiasm in his voice and the way he engaged the crowd. At first glance, the man seemed genuine, but Hiro had learned to look deeper. He noticed how the merchant's eyes darted nervously when questioned about his goods. There was a subtle hesitation in his voice, a fleeting moment of uncertainty that betrayed his outward confidence. After the merchant left, Hiro turned to Shun. He seemed confident, but I sensed a nervousness beneath the surface. It was almost as if he was trying to convince himself as much as the crowd. Shun nodded approvingly. "Very good, Hiro. You are beginning to see the layers. Confidence can be a mask, just as humility can. The key is not to judge too quickly, but to remain curious and observe over time." This lesson stayed with Hiro as he continued to encounter people from all walks of life. He began to see how challenges and adversity often stripped away the masks people wore, revealing their true natures. But he also realized that these moments were opportunities for growth, not just for those being observed, but for himself as well. One day, Hiro found himself facing a challenge that tested everything he had learned. A disagreement arose between two villagers over a piece of land, and both parties turned to Hiro for advice. They respected his growing wisdom and saw him as a neutral party. At first, Hiro was flattered by their trust, but he quickly realized the weight of the responsibility. Each villager presented a compelling case, and Hiro found it difficult to discern who was being truthful. He decided to approach the situation with the tools Shun had given him: observation, intuition, and empathy. As he listened to each person's story, Hiro paid attention not just to their words, but to their tone, body language, and consistency. He noticed that one villager, while articulate, avoided direct eye contact and became defensive when questioned. The other, though less eloquent, spoke with a quiet conviction and remained calm even when challenged. In the end, Hiro trusted his intuition and sided with the latter. The resolution brought peace to the conflict, and both parties thanked him for his fairness. Reflecting on the experience, Hiro realized that his ability to discern truth had grown, not just through Shun's teachings, but through his own practice and reflection. As Hiro's time in the village stretched into months, he began to understand that the journey of self-awareness and discernment was a lifelong process. Each interaction, each challenge, and each moment of reflection brought new insights and deeper understanding. One evening, as he sat with Shun beneath the stars, Hiro voiced his gratitude. "Master," he said, "your teachings have transformed the way I see the world and myself. But I feel there is still so much to learn. Shun smiled. The moment you believe you have learned everything is the moment you stop growing. Keep observing, keep questioning, and above all, remain open to the lessons life has to offer. As the night deepened, Hiro felt a profound sense of peace. He knew that his journey was far from over, but he welcomed it with an open heart. The lessons he had learned in the village were not just tools for identifying others' true natures. They were a guide for living authentically and compassionately. And so, with Shun's wisdom as his compass, Hiro prepared to step into the next chapter of his journey, knowing that each step would bring him closer to the truth, not just about others, but about himself. The village was alive with the vibrant energy of an upcoming festival. Lanterns hung from every rooftop, their soft light illuminating the cobblestone streets. Hiro stood at the edge of the bustling square, watching as children laughed and played while adults busied themselves with preparations. It was a beautiful sight, yet Hiro's mind was elsewhere. He had come to the village seeking answers about how to discern the true nature of others, but the journey had taken him far beyond his original quest. The wisdom Shun had imparted, the encounters with people like Aya and Koji, and even the conflicts he had helped resolve had all become mirrors, reflecting the complexities of the human experience. As Hiro walked through the square, he couldn't help but think about the masks people wore. Not just the obvious ones meant to deceive, but also the subtle masks of politeness, ambition, or even self-preservation. He began to wonder, were masks always a bad thing? Or were they simply tools, sometimes necessary, to navigate the challenges of life? That evening, as the festival celebrations began, Hiro found himself sitting with Shun beneath a canopy of stars. The Zen Master had been uncharacteristically quiet during the day, watching the festivities with a serene smile. Hiro took this moment of stillness as an opportunity to voice the questions that had been weighing on his heart. "Master," he began, "are masks always harmful? Or can they sometimes serve a purpose?" Shun looked at Hiro, his expression thoughtful. "Ah, Hiro," he said softly, "you are beginning to see the deeper layers of this journey. Masks are not inherently good or bad. They are like tools, neither virtuous nor sinful, but defined by how they are used. A mask can protect, conceal, or deceive, but it can also reveal, in its own way, truths that words cannot express." Hiro frowned, trying to grasp the meaning behind Shun's words. But how can a mask reveal the truth? Isn't its purpose to hide? Shun chuckled. "Consider the actors in a no play," he said, referring to the traditional Japanese theater where performers wore intricate masks. The masks do not hide their emotions, they amplify them, allowing the audience to see the essence of the character. In the same way, the masks we wear in life can sometimes reveal our deepest fears, desires, or vulnerabilities, if we have the eyes to see. Over the next few days, Hiro began to think deeply about Shun's words. He realized that masks were not always signs of insincerity. Sometimes, they were shields that allowed people to function in a world that could be harsh and unforgiving. Aya's cheerful demeanor, for example, had not been a lie but a way to cope with her struggles. One afternoon, Hiro met an elderly woman named Sachiko, who was known for her sharp tongue and no-nonsense attitude. Many in the village found her intimidating, but Hiro was curious about the woman behind the brusque exterior. During their conversation, Hiro gently asked Sachiko about her life. To his surprise, she began to share stories of her youth, of hardships endured and sacrifices made to provide for her family. Her seemingly harsh demeanor, Hiro realized, was not a mask to deceive but a layer of resilience formed through years of struggle. This encounter taught Hiro an important lesson. Not all masks are meant to deceive. Some are born of necessity, forged in the fires of adversity. To judge someone solely by their exterior was to miss the richness of their story. Hiro's reflections on masks took a new turn when he found himself faced with his own vulnerabilities. One evening, Shun asked Hiro to share his story, his true story, with the villagers. First, Hiro hesitated. He had always been guarded about his past, afraid that revealing his struggles and failures would make him appear weak or unworthy. But as he stood before the villagers, their faces expectant and kind, he felt a shift within himself. With a deep breath, Hiro began to speak. He talked about his journey to the village, his initial desire to learn how to identify fake people, and the lessons he had learned along the way. But he also shared the fears and insecurities that had driven him, his fear of being judged, his struggle to find his own path, and his realization that, at times, he had been as much a fake person as those he sought to unmask. As Hiro spoke, he felt a weight lifting from his shoulders. The vulnerability he had feared was not a weakness but a bridge, connecting him to the people around him. When he finished, there was a moment of silence, followed by a wave of applause, not for his eloquence, but for his courage to be authentic. That night, Shun approached Hiro with a smile. "You have taken an important step," he said. "To show your true self is one of the greatest acts of courage. It is through vulnerability that we connect, and through connection that we grow." Hiro nodded, understanding now that the journey of authenticity was not about perfection, but about embracing both the light and the shadows within. He realized that identifying fake people was not a matter of labeling or judging, but of seeking to understand the layers of humanity in others and in oneself. As the festival drew to a close, Hiro faced one final test. A stranger arrived in the village, claiming to be a wealthy merchant seeking to invest in the community. The villagers, impressed by his charm and generosity, quickly began to trust him. But Hiro, now attuned to the subtleties of human behavior, sensed something amiss. The merchant's stories were inconsistent, and his actions, while outwardly generous, seemed calculated to gain influence. Hiro decided to approach the situation with the wisdom he had gained. Instead of confronting the merchant directly, he engaged him in conversation, asking pointed yet respectful questions. Over time, the merchant's facade began to crack, revealing his true intentions. When the truth came to light, the villagers were grateful to Hiro for his discernment. But Hiro felt no triumph, only a quiet satisfaction that he had been able to apply Shun's teachings to protect the community. As Hiro prepared to leave the village, Shun gave him a parting gift, a simple calligraphy scroll with the words, "The mask reveals the face." Hiro smiled, understanding now that the journey of authenticity was not a destination but a lifelong path. He vowed to carry Shun's wisdom with him, to continue observing, questioning, and growing. As he walked away from the village, the lessons he had learned echoed in his heart. To see beyond the masks people wear, to embrace vulnerability as a strength, and to recognize the shared humanity that binds us all. And so, Hiro's journey continued, not as a seeker of truths about others, but as a traveler on the path of self-discovery, carrying with him the timeless wisdom of a Zen master and the profound beauty of a life lived authentically. With this, the story of Hiro and Master Shun comes full circle. If you found value in this journey and want to explore more stories and insights inspired by Buddhist wisdom, I invite you to subscribe to Buddhism in Modern Life for content that bridges timeless teachings with contemporary challenges. Thank you for joining us on this path.